Good morning, children. All these days we were discussing about nutrition, different modes of nutrition and different types of nutrition in different organisms. Okay, so nutrition is the first life process, and in that we also studied about photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the basic life process. Okay, then we discussed about nutrition in the lower organism, nutrition in amoeba, nutrition in higher organism, and human digestive system. And then I told you to go through all these topics and ask doubts. Okay, so some children ask me, what is the difference between exocrine gland and endocrine gland? Okay, so what is that, children? Exocrine gland and endocrine gland. Okay, endocrine gland. Okay, so first of all, let us discuss what is gland. Okay, so gland is a specialized tissue that releases their secretion or that secretes chemical substances. Okay, so what is a gland? Gland is a specialized tissue that secrete chemical substances, okay, to perform a particular function. Okay, and depending on how they secrete these chemical substances, glands are of three types. Okay, they are exocrine gland, endocrine gland, and the third one is heterocrine gland. Okay, what is it, children? Heterocrine gland. Okay, so now they asked me what is exocrine and endocrine. So we will be discussing about exocrine gland and endocrine gland. Okay, so exocrine is the Greek word that comes from exo means outside and crine word comes from crine. Okay, this crine. Okay, so this is a Greek word which mean to secrete. Understood? Follow, children? And all these days we were discussing about digestive glands. Okay, so all the digestive glands are exocrine gland. They release their secretion outside. For example, salivary glands. Okay, salivary glands releases their secretion through salivary duct into the buccal cavity. Okay, so the glands that drains out their secretion through ducts are called exocrine gland. Okay, so what is exocrine gland, children? Glands that drains out their secretion through ducts. Exo means outside. Okay, crine means to secrete. They secrete outside. Salivary glands that secrete saliva through salivary duct into the buccal cavity. Similarly, gastric glands that secretes gastric juice through gastric ducts in the lumen of the stomach. Like that, pancreatic glands that secrete pancreatic juice through pancreatic duct into the duodenum. Okay, so all these glands drain out their secretion through ducts. Okay, whereas endocrine glands do not have duct. Okay, so they are also called as ductless glands. Okay, what they are called as? Ductless glands. Ducts means what? Tubes. Okay, they have particular. Now, for example, this is parotid gland, and then this is duct. Okay, similarly sublingual gland, and then similarly submandibular gland. So all these are ducts. Understood? And then pancreatic glands we told. Okay, so pancreatic gland is a leaf-like structure like this. Understood, children? And pancreatic gland is also called as heterocrine gland because it has a part of exocrine gland, and then this is endocrine gland. Okay, endocrine. Follow? Endocrine gland. This is exocrine gland. So exo means what? They secrete their secretion or chemical substance through ducts. Okay, exocrine glands have ducts. Okay, endocrine glands do not have duct, so they are called as ductless gland. These release their secretion or chemical substances directly into blood. Okay, and this blood acts as medium of transport for hormones. Did you understand, children? And then exocrine glands secrete or releases enzymes. Understood? Exocrine glands are associated with digestive system. All these days we learned about several digestive glands. So those are all exocrine gland. Okay, and endocrine glands are also called as ductless glands, and they produce hormones. Okay, and we have a very elaborate chapter about endocrine glands in the next coming lessons. Okay, let's coming chapters, children. So this was about this is about the difference between exocrine gland and endocrine gland. Exocrine gland drains out its secretion through ducts. Okay, whereas endocrine glands do not have ducts. They are also called as ductless gland. They releases their secretion directly into the blood. Okay, so exocrine glands have ducts. Endocrine glands do not have duct. Okay, then exocrine gland produces enzymes and endocrine glands secrete hormones. Okay, so this is about, and all enzymes are proteins, whereas all hormones may be proteins, maybe amino acid, or maybe steroids. Okay, so these are some of the differences between exocrine gland and endocrine glands, children. Understood? And we will be learning still elaborately about endocrine gland in the next coming chapters. Okay, so this was the doubt put forward by some of the children. Now we will go to the second chapter, that is respiration. Okay, so our next chapter is respiration. Okay, respiration. Okay, yes, children. So nutrition is the first life process and respiration is the second life process. Next, very important essential life process. Respiration plays very important role in releasing energy. Okay, and then we all know that the basic philosophy of life is to survive. Understood? And to survive, one has to grow its size, and for this growth we require several raw material, and for the synthesis of raw material we require energy. Understood, children? And that energy we get from our food. Okay, so in the first chapter, that is digestive system, digestive gland, we learned that we take complex food and that food is broken down to simple form. Okay, so in digestive system, complex food is taken, nutrients, several nutrients are taken and they are broken down to simple form. If they are broken down to simple form, then also energy is not released. Okay, this simple form of food should be supplied to each and every cell, and from each and every cell the end product must be carbon dioxide and water. Okay, children, so the end product of respiration is carbon dioxide and water. Okay, in digestion the complex molecule of food is taken, which is converted to simple form. Okay, and then in respiration this simple form of food is supplied to each and every cell, and from each and every cell carbon dioxide and water is produced with a lot of energy. Okay, so respiration plays very important role in releasing energy. Okay, we require energy for several things, children. First of all, to face adverse environmental condition like drought, then floods, cyclone, tsunami. Okay, and then to face infectious diseases. Okay, sometimes dengue, sometimes flu, and nowadays we are all seeing corona effect. Okay, so we require lot of energy to improve our immune system, to develop our immune system to fight with all these diseases. Okay, and next to face the predators. So for everything we require energy. Respiration plays very important role in releasing energy. Okay, then what is respiration, children? So the complex molecule of food is broken down to simple form. Okay, and then simple form of food should be supplied to each and every cell. So oxidation of food material like glucose, amino acid, fatty acids to carbon dioxide and water is called respiration. Okay, so what is respiration? Oxidation of food material such as glucose, amino acid, fatty acid to carbon dioxide and water, and this respiration process is internal. Okay, it takes place deep inside the cell, that is called as cellular respiration. Okay, children, so what is it? Cellular respiration. So very oftenly asked question, what is cellular respiration. Okay, so oxidation of food material such as glucose, amino acids, fatty acids to carbon dioxide and water inside the cell is called cellular respiration. Okay, and remember the end product of respiration must be carbon dioxide and water. Okay, there are a lot of energy is released. If only carbon dioxide is produced, very small amount of energy. If only water is produced, a small amount of energy. But if carbon dioxide and water is produced, then large amount of energy is released. Okay, so there is another process where the end product is carbon dioxide and water. So what is that process? Combustion. Okay, so what is it, children? Combustion. So combustion is also, in combustion also the end product is carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so is it equal to respiration? But combustion means energy is produced in the form of heat by burning organic molecule. Okay, so what is combustion? It is a process where energy is produced in the form of heat by burning organic molecule. You can conduct a small experiment, children. Take sugar in spoon and heat it. Okay, then you see first the sugar melts. Okay, and then the sugar becomes black. Okay, so that blackening of the sugar is called charring. What it is called? Charring. Okay, blackening of the sugar is called charring. Okay, and then after some time you see it catches fire and then you can see drops of water. Okay, so the smoke that goes is carbon dioxide, and after it is completely burnt with flame, it produces water drops. Okay, so respiration and combustion are energy is produced. Okay, and the end product is same. Okay, then what is the difference between respiration and combustion? Okay, in respiration water is essential, whereas for combustion water is not required. Okay, and then charring is seen in combustion, but there is no charring in respiration. Understood, children? And then in respiration energy is released at several stages. Okay, whereas in combustion energy is released at a time and is exhausted. Okay, so this is difference between the respiration and combustion. Okay, now we'll learn what are the different types of respiration. Okay, types of respiration. Okay, types of respiration. There are two types of respiration, that is aerobic respiration, and aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Okay, in some books anaerobic respiration. In some books, children, he will be giving three types of respiration, that is aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration and fermentation. Okay, so fermentation is also a type of anaerobic respiration, but we always read with a separate side heading. Okay, children, this is also a type of anaerobic respiration. Okay, so what are the three types of respiration? Aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration and fermentation. Okay, and for all these process, glycolysis is the first step. Okay, glycolysis is the first step. So this word can be split like glyco means glucose and lysis means breaking. Okay, so what is glycolysis? Nothing but breaking of glucose molecule. Okay, so what is glycolysis? Splitting of glucose. Okay, this is the first step for any type of respiration, whether it is aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration or fermentation. First glycolysis should take place. Okay, so what is this glycolysis? We'll see. Okay, next, oxidation of glucose in our body takes place at several stages, children, but oxidation of glucose takes place in two stages. Okay, in the first stage, one molecule of glucose with 6 carbon atom is converted to 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. Okay, with 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, each pyruvic acid having 3 carbon atoms. Okay, this takes place in the presence or absence of oxygen. Carbon dioxide is not produced and very little energy is released. That is called as glycolysis. Understood, children? So glyco is glucose and lysis means breaking, splitting. Okay, so what happens? in the first stage of glycolysis, each molecule of one molecule of glucose with the 6 carbon atom is converted to 2 molecules of pyruvic acid with 3 carbon atoms each. Okay, so this process, the first stage takes place in presence or absence of oxygen. Okay, carbon dioxide is not produced, very little energy is released. This is what is called as glycolysis. Okay, in the second stage, each molecule of pyruvic acid is, so this is the first stage. In the second stage, each molecule of pyruvic acid is converted to 3 molecules of carbon dioxide, and the hydrogen in the pyruvic acid combines with the oxygen present in the atmosphere and water is formed. Okay, this takes place in the presence of oxygen. That is what is called as aerobic respiration. Okay children, so this glucose in the presence of oxygen, okay, in the presence of oxygen gives carbon dioxide and water. Understood? So this is called as aerobic respiration. Understood children? And then if oxygen is absent, then this glucose gives rise to ethyl alcohol C2H5 plus carbon dioxide. Okay, this is what is called as fermentation. What it is called to the fermentation. Okay, so this takes place in the yeast cells. Okay, so glucose in presence of oxygen gives carbon dioxide and water. This is called aerobic respiration. Glucose in the absence of oxygen gives ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. This is called as fermentation. Okay, and a small anaerobic respiration takes place even in our body. Okay, all think that only aerobic respiration takes place, but anaerobic respiration also takes place. Okay, sometimes we fold our hands and sleep on our hand and fold our leg and sit for a long time, then there won't be oxygen supply. Okay, in such case what happens, this glucose in the absence of oxygen, so oxygen absent, that is in our muscles tissue, is converted to lactic acid. Okay, so what is that? CH3 CHOH COOH. Okay, so this is the formula for lactic acid. Okay, so this is also anaerobic respiration. So whatever it is, glucose must be converted to pyruvic acid. Okay, and glucose is converted to 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, and then if oxygen is present, pyruvic acid is converted to carbon dioxide and water. That is called as aerobic respiration. And if oxygen is absent in yeast cell, it is converted to ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. That is called as fermentation. And then in our muscles tissue, if oxygen is absent, it is converted to lactic acid. Okay, and that is why we get crumbs in our legs or hands. If we sit for longer time, then we get crumbs. Okay, that is due to the formation of lactic acid because oxygen is absent. Okay, so for everything, first glucose should be converted to 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. That is what is called as glycolysis. That's why we say that glycolysis is the first step of all these 3 types of respiration, whether it is aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration or fermentation. First glycolysis takes place. Okay, and then depending on the availability of oxygen, the fate of pyruvic acid is decided. Okay, if oxygen is present, pyruvic acid is converted to carbon dioxide and water. If oxygen is and a lot of energy is released. Okay, energy is produced. Then if oxygen is absent, carbon dioxide and water, so lot of energy produced. If oxygen is absent, then it is converted to ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. So here only carbon dioxide is produced. So little amount of energy is produced. Okay, this is called fermentation and it takes place in yeast cell. Okay, similarly, if oxygen is absent in our muscles, it is converted to pyruvic acid is converted to lactic acid. Okay, so this is lactic acid. Lactic acid. Understood children? So glycolysis is the first step of all these 3 types of respiration. In short, we can say glyco means glucose, lysis means splitting. Okay, hope you understood this.